What if I told you that mastering just this one skill could completely change that you lead, handle challenges, and drive your business forward? It's a skill that separates resilient leaders from those who burn out, and one that can strengthen your relationships with your clients and inspire loyalty within your team. In this video, what I'm talking about, what I'm going to break down, is why tolerance isn't just a nice to have, it's a powerful, essential tool for any business owner who's actually serious in having long-term success in their business and relationships and their life. Tolerance is the capacity to withstand challenges without breaking. If anyone or anything can steal your peace, you've already lost. But tolerance isn't the same as thinking that you're smarter than other people or simply accepting anything that happens. It goes deeper than that. Tolerance is about treating others how you would want to be treated. A long time ago, an employee of mine in my yoga studio came in to teach the class that they were scheduled to teach, but they arrived in tears, not in their yoga gear, ready to go, 5 minutes beyond the time they were supposed to be, not only in the studio, but in the studio, ready to go at the front desk to then greet new students who were coming in. Now, I couldn't tolerate the fact that they were late, and I couldn't accept that they were coming in a state that was not positioned to help the students who were coming to take their class. What I could tolerate, on the other hand, was the fact that clearly they were upset about something. So I helped them by just saying, look, go to the back room, have her cry if you need to, get it together. Can I help you in some way? Are you okay? Checking in on them. And then when you're ready, come back out to the front desk and teach this class. And if you can't make that happen in the next 5 minutes, you tell me and I'm going to teach this class for you. I had to hold the standard that we had set for the entire team. I couldn't tolerate that boundary being crossed, but I could tolerate the fact that this human being needed some empathy, needed some help in that moment. Where that can come from as a business owner is thinking for yourself about your darkest, most vulnerable moment. And if you've owned a business for a minute, you've definitely had this experience. Think about that moment that you're hurting, that maybe you're lashing out, you're saying the wrong thing, you're making the poor decision. Now imagine in that moment, someone treats you with nothing but acceptance, love, and kindness. How would that impact you? How would you want to be treated in that moment? To be someone who can offer that level of kindness, you need to embody what we would call extreme tolerance. The thing is, tolerance isn't about gritting your teeth or forcing control or resisting an urge to react. Quite the opposite. True tolerance comes from a place of confidence, really from awareness more than anything else, and from a high level of authenticity. It's a state where no situation can force you to have to, quote, tolerate anything, because you're simply able to observe, remain calm, and keep your emotional state steady no matter what is going on around you. In business, therefore, tolerance is an absolute requirement for effective leadership, especially with your staff and your clients, and honestly, something that's really lost in business these days. People always saying, I can't tolerate this or shouldn't have to tolerate that. As a business owner, you're constantly going to be dealing with people with different experiences, people with different needs, people with different stress levels. You don't know how your clients, for example, are arriving in your business. A tolerant leader is able to listen to a frustrated client or to handle an upset employee without taking it personally, which makes it all about you, or letting it disrupt your peace, which ruins any fun in your business. This isn't really about ignoring issues though either. It's about creating an environment where people can feel respected, heard, and valued, even in the toughest conversations and moments. When your tolerance is strong, you model a calm and constructive approach that inspires your team and reassures your clients. When you're able to navigate through difficult situations objectively, fostering trust and loyalty, everything tends to go better in the long run. This is why the best leaders are those who can hold this kind of space for others, and they end up setting a tone for a positive and resilient workspace. Tolerance is not the same thing as accepting when someone crosses a boundary, or that saying that you have to embrace some sort of negative business outcome either. It's not about martyrdom. It's not about sacrificing your own well-being. True tolerance means staying calm and centered, but it also requires and empowers you to have healthy boundaries and enforcement on accountability around what's supposed to happen in the business. In business, this means addressing issues directly and ensuring that respect is mutual in all directions. Tolerance really empowers you and allows you to approach challenges with more of a clear head, and it doesn't mean tolerating behaviors or situations that harm your business, your team, or yourself. It's a strength that empowers you to handle tough situations without compromising your principles. My son was only 6 weeks old when I opened my last yoga studio with my wife, and we would play rock, paper, scissors for who was going to teach the class, and the other one of us would babysit him at the front desk. We had a very strict policy that we didn't let people into our yoga class after the class had already started for longer than 5 minutes, because it was very disruptive to the class, and especially if it was a new student, they might not understand what to do in the class, and they didn't have the chance prior to the class to meet the teacher and for us to sort of feel out what's going on. A student came in much later than the 5-minute mark to take the yoga class, and they hadn't been to the studio before. My wife was teaching, I was at the front desk holding my son, and she started screaming at me over my son because I wouldn't let her into the yoga room. Luckily, I used my yoga superpowers at the moment to be tolerant of the situation, because she started going on about how she had a sore elbow and a bum knee and how she really needed a yoga class and she was so excited to come, but she was screaming it at me out of anger. And I realized that I could tolerate this outburst because I had some empathy for the situation, but I wasn't going to change the boundary to let her into the room. And I was going to not tolerate the fact that she was screaming over my baby. So I had to ask her to just lower her voice and calm down, and I booked her in for the next class. 5.5 years later, that same exact person had maintained more than a 5-day-a-week practice and bought an annual pass every single time. It was easily one of our best evangelists of the brand, all because of a moment of tolerance.